So, I'm going to get script ready. Not quite sure what I'm going on here. Okay, so I'll get my stuff together. I think everything is okay. I just need somebody to say you can hear me. Check that that's all right. I've got the scripts here. Blah, 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 blah. Got my things here. Yeah. Okay, so. Let's put that up there. Not quite sure where I'm looking on Facebook for networking or for networking community. I'm guessing it's the for networking community, right? For networking community page because it's shared on there, isn't it? Okay. Hello, Fidel. Hello, Michael. Nice to see you both. No idea if you can hear me. What do I do? Just swipe left if I see them. Swipe left to see comments and reactions. Well, that should be up on there. Okay, so. Okay, so I am waiting here, checking it out. That's working. That's quite bright, isn't it? A little bit too bright. We'll take that off. There we go. It's a lovely day. So, not quite sure. 8:24. Got that ready to go. Okay. Right, the things that I need to remember to speed up the first bit. Okay, so change the picture mirroring. Right, speed up that first bit. Remember that. Okay. Okay, so we're going to be doing the scripts. 8:30. So we've got to do this analog thing here. So there. I have no idea whether anybody can hear me. It'd be nice if somebody said if they did, just so I know that you can hear my volume. Okay, so we are going live very soon, I think. I think we're live now, are we? Okay, so I'm hoping I'm going to get some people hit me up with their 40-second pitches. Thanks, Julian. Okay, so that's good. Well, I think we're ready to rock in about 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Anybody who's joining, please get your 40 words in so I can promote you. Okay. So, just going to get the link for this. Right, so I should be telling people to head over to Full Networking. It's going to stream on the Full Networking community page, I'm guessing. Okay, 8:28. And we are going to be starting in 2 minutes. Okay, so that's good there. That's good there. I've got that there. Are we on our past 8 yet? Okay, so okay, so I'm guessing we ought to be starting this in a minute. Right, okay. Okay, we've got 3 people. Okay, 8:30. Let's go. Good morning. I'm Clive Loseby from Access by Design, and thank you for joining me on 4N TV Live. Yeah, this is really cool. I'm really happy to be here, and we're going to start with the 40 words round, which is going to be a chance for any of you to send me 40 words on Facebook as a comment. It can be a brief pitch about you, which which I and everybody else will be able to see. I won't attempt to read them all out, but I'll try to pick out a few. As a tip for future weeks, please prepare ahead of time and just paste it in as a comment for each show. So, if you can hit me up with your 40 words, that would be amazing. Otherwise, I'm just going to repeat my 40 seconds. Okay, so while we're doing that, I had all these ambitious plans for this foresight. I was going to have a big backlit screen with all the stuff coming up. Hi Hayley. I was going to have a big backlit screen with all this stuff coming up, and realised last night it just really was not going to happen. So I decided to go retro, go a bit analog, and my presentation is going to be on this amazing screen, which has been, I've spared no expense. I spent no money at all. Okay, so hit me up with your 40 words. Hi, how you doing, Hayley? And I can promote you. We've got a few minutes before we kick off with the foresight. Got about 4 minutes. So yeah, brilliant. Tell me what you do. Tell me where you're from, and I'll tell everyone else. Oh, thank you. That's really nice. Fortunately, you can't see the rest of the studio. It's one of those things where you've got the shop front, which looks great, and then the rest, yeah, you don't want the public to see. It's a little bit untidy. Science cut. Okay, so you are from revitalu.co.uk and you specialise in coffee and you are a scientist. Okay, well then of course you have to be trusted. Is that what you do? Fantastic. And where are you from, Hayley? Okay, still got a few minutes to go. Anybody else want to hit me up with some comments? Your 40 words, this is your chance. Oh. Okay, so 3 minutes. Yeah, this is the new sign. That's the slightly old one. It's been propped up by the other one. And we're gonna rock, I think, in still got 3 minutes. Manchester, fantastic. I've got family from the Middleton area, and I've got family also over in Upton on the Wirral. Whereabouts in Manchester are you? In fact, yeah, I'd like to go back up there. So what we got? 3 minutes to go. So those of you just joining me, please hit me up with 40 words so I can promote you. One of the things I love about For Networking is the fact that the meeting format just goes on the same everywhere, and you can kind of go to any meeting and feel comfortable. Next time I head up to the northwest, I'll find out where the Manchester meetings are and see if I can kind of fit one in, which would be really cool. Okay. Okay, well, I've got 2 minutes to go before we hit the foresight slot. Thankfully, this is available on catch up. Warrington or Runcorn? Okay, Runcorn in Cheshire. I was born in Tarvin, tiny little village about 8 miles outside Chester. Yeah, I'm sure we can work something out. Cool. See if I can get that scene. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I completely agree, and actually I would be up there. Certainly going to be there next time. Okay, yes, so for all those watching on catch up or on Dave, let's go. So, my name is Clive Loseby, and thank you. It's my time for my foresight slot. It's not a sales pitch, but it's an insight into a specialist field, experience, or interesting area of my life. In my case, it becomes interesting areas. I hope you enjoy it. It's called You Always Have a Choice. I can't see you today, but it'd be great to know that you're watching. So please send me comments throughout and keep hitting on the like and emoji buttons whenever you want to. So basically, this is a set of 4 sites that I did at the beginning of the year, and I hope people enjoy it. I'm talking about the last 30 years. Let's start at the very beginning. In 1984, I decided I was going to become a world famous rock guitarist. And in fact, by 1988, yeah, check out the hair, I had reached the dizzy heights of supporting Stone Cold at a gig in Chichester. My band was called Wraith. If you think of Spinal Tap, you kind of get the idea. After this gig, I had a girl singer join the band, and her name was Jess. And Jess had an absolutely beautiful voice, and she was absolutely beautiful, and is. But the thing is, she could never hear herself because we were so incredibly loud. Now, Jess and I got together on some rather dubious circumstances, which I probably shouldn't go into publicly, but message me off list and I can tell you. But basically, we got together and we got engaged after 6 weeks, much to the horror and, well, I don't know, horror, but consternation of both sets of parents, because we were pretty young, but we kind of knew, so it was cool. And we were actually planning to get married in 1989. However, something happened on the 1st of June 1989, and that kind of changed things a little bit. So what happened is that we were coming out of a rock nightclub. It was called the Hungry Ears. If anybody watching this remembers it, it was in Brighton. Used to go there with the long hair and the skin tight pants and all that sort of stuff. We came out of the nightclub and the driver felt that he'd had too much to drink. So what we did is we agreed to sleep over in the car. I slept across the back seat and Jess was sleeping in the boot. It's not as bad as it sounds because it was an estate car, so she was kind of there, and our friend Jane was in the passenger seat, and the driver woke up at 4 AM, 2 hours later, and he felt okay, so he set off and he didn't wake us up, so we were all kind of lying prone. Now, on the Old Shoreham Road, there is a lamppost by a cemetery, and the driver lost control of the car and he hit that lamppost at 50 miles an hour. What that did is threw me against the driver's seat. I had severe concussion, busted a few ribs and collapsed lung, so it was a little bit touch and go. In fact, the recoil from the accident, the boot burst open. Jess was thrown out of the back of the car. She broke her back and she's been paralysed from the waist down ever since. This was 1989, so this was before the time of mobile phones, and it was very touch and go. The taxi driver came along within about 30 seconds and radioed through, so an ambulance was there quickly, and that was it. So they actually filled in my death certificate of just waiting for me to die, so they could sign it off, inconveniently for their paperwork, but conveniently for me, survived. And what happened is that we had to put the wedding off a year, because Jess spent that year in rehab, which is Odstock Hospital over in Salisbury, learning how to use a wheelchair, learning all the sort of new life skills and all the rest of it. Got a serious amount of hair there. You're watching this and you're probably thinking, how would I react with something like that? Because you don't actually know until it happens. For me, Jess was still Jess, and that was it. So what we then did is we got married in 1990, and that was fantastic. So the band thing, it was never going to happen. It was never going to happen anyway, if I'm completely honest, because basically we weren't that great. So what I decided to do is I ended up going back to college, and I went and did this degree. This is a BA in Music and Related Arts, which is at what is now Chichester University, and that was amazing. I learnt about music styles that I'd never come across before because I had a heavy metal background. Suddenly I'm learning about jazz, avant-garde, serial music, classical, all kind of slightly out there stuff. And what I discovered is that, or realised is, what I really like doing is making music. Yeah, by the way, Jess and I, we've been married 27 years now. Thanks, Hayley. Which is fantastic. Yeah, it's just 27th anniversary. So there we go. I'm doing my degree, and I discovered that what I just really loved is music. So I thought, well, okay, I'm not going to be a famous rock star. Instead, I'm going to be a famous composer for TV and film. Hurriedly grabs his notes. So here we are. And this is my career for the next 7 years. To be honest, although I was completely confident I was going to be mega successful, it wasn't like that. It took a year to get my first gig, and this was this one here, When the Buying Stops. Now this was done, a guy had been out there filming about endangered animals in Asia. He rang up and said, look, there's no money, but would you be interested in writing the music? And I said, yeah, fantastic. John Hanna narrated it. It then got redubbed into Cantonese and Mandarin by Jackie Chan, and then it got seen by about 1 billion people, which was fantastic. And David Attenborough, I sent him a copy of the video, and he said some really nice things about it. So I thought, brilliant, I've made it now. I'm going to get so much work. The reality, again, did not get any for a long time. I ended up doing a corporate job for British Airways, and then you can see over the next, let's get it up there, you can see over the next 6-7 years I worked for these people, and these are brilliant, you know, Channel 4, BBC, Discovery, all amazing gigs. In reality, you might go a year between them. It was a tough business. Anyway, ended up working for Disney. Spooky Sisters. Now this was Disney UK's first ever animated series. 12 episodes. It was absolutely brilliant fun. I loved every minute of it. I was, you know, writing for animation is so hard. You write 6 seconds of jazz, then 5.5 seconds of heavy metal, then choral, then all of this different stuff. It was living on adrenaline. It was completely brilliant fun. It won awards. So everybody thought, well, they're going to commission a lot of work off the back of this. And so I turned the garage into a studio, waiting for the work to roll in. Unfortunately, Disney didn't go with it. And actually, I ended up in this studio that I'm still in, but with no work. And I thought, that's okay. People are going to hire somebody who's worked for Disney. So I just still waited for it all to happen. In the meantime, I fixed computers. I did a postgrad in music at Chichester. And I set up a course with my friend Nigel Rickman in writing music for TV and film. That course is still going, and we've had people go on to win BAFTAs and just be really successful and make more money than I ever did, which is fine. And it's really nice to kind of leave that legacy. My oldest friend Nigel Rickman is running the course, and if you ever think about writing music for TV and film, check it out. So let's move on now to the next bit. So having done all of that and realised that the work wasn't coming in, I picked up work fixing computers, whatever. Then I ended up with my wife Jess thinking, well, let's make some money, let's make a business. During this time, Jess had actually established herself as an international award-winning digital artist, and it was brilliant because this was the early days of the internet. What that meant is that she was one of these subversive net artists. Nobody knew how, you know, that she was in a wheelchair because she was being judged on her work and her work alone. We got flown to Italy, we went over to America, met these people, and they were to pick up these prizes she won, and they were just absolutely dumbfounded every time they saw her because they had no idea. That's one of the things I love about the internet. It is a great leveler, and it's all about what you can do, not who you are. It's brilliant. So. But again, it's hard to get money, so between us we thought, let's put the business together, let's see if we can make a bit of money. Most people start businesses with a startup loan, investment, whatever. We started it with piles of debt. So just kind of thought it would be a good thing. So the business began to grow, we took on more people, and now we're going to hit 2011. So this bit, I'm going to read is extracts from my forthcoming book, How Not to Run a Business. The book is going to be available on Amazon at some point when I get round to finishing it. In the reality, basically, we expanded. We started 2011 with some very high hopes. The idea of responsive design had just come out. The idea you could have a website that would work for a mobile and tablet. We combined it with our accessibility, because that's the name, Access by Design. We wanted to always make sure everyone could have an accessible website, because that's important to us, obviously. So we started the year with a bang, thinking that we are going to clean up. In reality, it was 2011, so nobody had any money. And the colossal mistakes that I made, well, they were basically, I had too many staff. I had 6 members of staff and only one person doing sales, me. So that kind of ratio didn't work. I ignored the fact that no business actually had any money to spend. So I just went out telling people about this amazing new thing about responsive design. And reality, they were sort of going, well, we haven't got any money and this all sounds a bit strange. And I had, in all honesty, a complete failure to take a realistic appraisal of the rapidly increasing hole I was digging myself into further and further and further, because I was just so convinced we were going to be successful. So the numbers, I needed about 15 grand a month to kind of keep the business going. In reality, in September, even though I was quoting 50k's worth of website a month, it was absolutely overtime, it just wasn't happening. And by September we got 4 grand in work, and October we got 35 quid in new orders. Yeah, so it all kind of came off the rails and it was all very difficult. I slunk back to this studio with my tail very much between my legs. Everyone had to go apart from Polly, my designer, held on to her. Still holding on to her, she's amazing. She started working from home and we started to try to keep going. So look, the thing is, I couldn't tell anybody, because when you're in business, everything is always amazing, isn't it? Everything's successful, pipeline's full, new orders coming in all the time, lots of customers, everything is fantastic. I was in a completely chaotic state in those 2 years, and eventually I confided in another business owner that I respected and told him what had been going on, and he immediately told me his own horror stories. And he told me a load of them, and then I talked to a few other people and they told me their stories. And what I realised is that the longer you're in business, the more lows you're going to hit, because that's what the world is like, that's what business is like, and actually it's okay because you just have to ride it. So it was frustrating, but I had no plan B, literally no plan B, so I just kept going. Now, what was I going to do? Chichester, where I'm from, was full of web designers. The world is full of web designers. I had an amazing product, but how was I going to break through? Well, what I did, the best decision I did first was to rejoin 4N. Yeah, I joined 4N before, and I didn't actually go to one meeting. How nuts is that? Yeah, so not the best decision ever. Rejoined, started going to meetings, and actually I discovered that suddenly here was a community of people, meeting structure where I could gain respect, forge relationships through foresights like this live foresight I'm doing now. I could tell people and show people about what I did, my expertise, and actually just build relationships with people with one-to-ones. I mean, for me, the model worked brilliantly. I'd go to meetings, I'd see people before and after. You know, that's how for networking, well, it really saved me actually, and business began to pick up at last, which is fantastic. So in 2015, my daughter, eldest daughter, Windsor, she was working for me that year, and she wrote our award submission for the Observer Business Awards for product innovation, and we won it. The judges had said that basically, because we were quick off the block in 2011 and had been consistent ever since, that's where they go for. It would have been nice if they'd have given us it in 2011, might have got some more work, but anyway. This in classic rom-com style. My wife Jess, she's got a lot of health challenges and she has been in hospital a few times, and the night of the awards, I was with her in hospital, classic style, dashed from the hospital, dashed home, threw on a tuxedo. I mean, Winnie went over to the, her name's Winter, but she's always going to be my Winnie. Went over to the award ceremony, missed all the opening speeches, sat down just in time to win and to find out we were winners. It was absolutely wonderful. So there's me thinking, well, at last, we've won an award. The work is going to come flooding in. People are going to be beating a path to my door at last. But again, reality is nobody had any money. Everybody was making a make-do approach with whatever they had, and that's the way that it was. So I had to do another evaluation. If only there was some way we could take our clever, bespoke websites and turn them into some kind of off-the-shelf product. And here we go, at the beginning of last year, we did it. We launched something called Run Your Own Website. Now that was a product that we had It was just a demo originally. I showed it to my clients and they loved the idea of it and they brought it on board. And it began to grow, and at last I had it. I had a product that was affordable, that met what people's needs were, was easy to run, and I thought, at last, we're going to hit the big time. Global domination, here we come. But unfortunately, I was also working myself into the ground. Now, I've got something called bronchiectasis, which basically means that I can't clear my lungs properly, and I was constantly getting chest infections. I have got something picked up something called Pseudomonas, which is a really nasty super bug. It's very hard to get rid of. And I was the chest guy, the wonderful Dr. Tate at St. Richard's Hospital, had said to me, you know, you really ought to come in and have some antibiotics, 2 weeks of them, 24/7. And I'm saying, no, we can't do that. I can't give up take 2 weeks out of work. It'll be fine, don't worry. Yeah, not the best decision I ever made. And actually, last Easter 2016, I couldn't breathe. One day I was in the kitchen, I can remember it all too vividly, and I had a pain in the back, in my back. I knew it wasn't my heart because it was on the back of my chest. I couldn't breathe. I somehow had to communicate. Jess was in bed, but she wasn't well. There was my son Jude was in the kitchen, and he was 16 at the time, and he had to call for an ambulance, and it was all very difficult, to say the least. In fact, it was one of those touch and go situations. So I ended up in hospital for 2.5 weeks, and they put me on the pulmonary rehab course, which they put me on the intravenous antibiotics, which they always said I needed to have, and they finally got rid of the Pseudomonas at last. Yes, which was brilliant. But they then parachuted me in on this pulmonary rehab course. I need to give my thanks to the wonderful team of physios at St. Richard's Hospital. This course is amazing. It's like an hour of lectures, then an hour of workouts, circuit training twice a week for 6 weeks. And then by the end of it, the course, they kind of thought I hadn't got the message, because I'm kind of slightly in denial about it all, so they made me do the whole course again. So by the end of the second time, my fitness had literally doubled. I got it, and ever since then, I've been doing exercises every single day, and my fitness levels have just been so much better. How is it that I'm able to function we're still having this bronchiectasis? It's because of this. This amazing device is called an a cappella active. And what it is, there's a thing inside that vibrates as you breathe into it, and it sends sonic waves. I'll give you a quick demo. You'll probably hear a high-pitched rattling. What that basically does is sending sound waves down into my lungs. So as that was blowing, I could feel the vibrations going down into my lungs. And what that does, you do that for about a minute, and it stirs up all the kind of crap so that you can get it up and get rid of it. What that does, that's kept me out of hospital for 18 months. It is an absolute lifesaver. If this wasn't around, I'd still be getting repeated infections and having physios, you know, kind of banging you on the back. If you know anybody who has COPD or bronchitis or bronchiectasis or any kind of breathing stuff, get them to find out about this device. It is an absolute amazing thing, and it allows me to function fully and keep on top of stuff. A cappella active. Okay, so how are we doing now? So we're in 2016, 2007, we're now into 2017, and when I first started doing these series of foresights, I was saying that, you know, finally it looks like my health is sorted, the products are sorted, and actually things are looking really positive. And actually, since now we're in September, I've got 41 running around websites live. I've got 17 in development. I've got loads of stuff happening, and most of this has come through 4N. I've built up over 100 affiliates because of 4 networking. And look, if anybody's watching this video who is part of the Facebook group but not part of 4N or haven't been to a meeting, please go. Please go to that meeting, because the meetings are what 4N is about. They're so friendly, they're so lovely. It's such an amazing support network. So we're coming to the end of my foresight slot, and I hope it's been interesting to you. I'm going to leave you with a clip from a film. By the way, all of my music and stuff is all on my YouTube channel, so do have a look at that. I'm going to leave you with a 30-second clip from the end of a video that I made for my dissertation. Let's just get it play. Whatever happens to you, you've always got a choice how you respond to it. Thank you. And that's the full stop. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, so now it's time to wrap up. Thank you for watching. Thanks for the comments, Hayley. You're awesome. Anyone else going to watch it on catch up? Love to talk to you afterwards. Let me know. I've replied to any questions that you've made answered, and we'll wind up by saying that 4N Live is here next week. 8:30 on the 23rd of September. You can join Michael Nagels with a foresight called The Autumn Statement. So tune in then. There's loads of Facebook Lives coming up. Michael Nagels is back on Friday at 4 o'clock for his weekly roundup. There's a Forward Development live video presentations going on all the time. And on Monday, Jen Hines has got the first edition of the new member bootcamp. That's going to be really cool. It's finding out how you can make the most of your full networking meetings if you've joined up. If you'd like the opportunity to present an episode of being on 4N TV Live or Forward Development, please contact your regional leader. It's free to take part and it's open to all Passport members. Slots are already booked up ahead. Yeah, I waited 6 months for this one, so get your request in now. This 4N TV Live episode is going to be available to view anytime here, so please share it, add your comments, and that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Please feel free to continue networking right here on the 4N Facebook page. Thank you very much. I love 4N. You guys are awesome.